Good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you may be, or good evening, or good night. This is Jen at JensArtyInclinations, a place to create, share, and play.
Hello. As you saw from the beginning, I decided that I wanted a little structure to pop inside of our journals that was another kind of interactive piece. So I'll make sure this goes into my pop-up playlist. But the idea was you can do these with big manilla folders. A lot of teachers use them. I've seen lots of videos out there on people who make these structures, and a lot of teachers use them where when you open them on the first way that you can see the questions, and then when you open them the second fold you can actually see all of the answers. So they use them for students to use as a study guide. I've seen them with a teacher reading a story that was on the first face, and then when she opened it up it had the picture of the story. I think it was 3 little pigs. Yeah, so many uses. So I wanted to find a way to kind of use that idea to put them into our journals and actually do a little hidden structure in them. They really are simple to make. So have a little look. You'll see, what I'm doing here. The first piece I cut was just the folder itself, and then I'll cut a piece to put on the back to cover it in. And then these 2 pieces I'm putting in, they are going to be the little secret notepaper kind of pretend pieces. So look, doing nothing more here than inking around. There's no real measurements for this because it depends upon what size card you have and so forth. Now you can see that I've got 4 folds there and the 2 outside flaps fold into the middle. At the beginning you saw my little prototype that I did. I wanted to have a go at doing a prettier one. But yeah, I just like the idea that it's little secret hidden notes. I think that's kind of fun. All right, so we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the structure. I folded the whole thing in half, and then I measured just 2 of the squares on my mat. I used the mat as my measuring piece, and I'm slicing right through. So that's on the fold side that I'm actually making these cuts. And this is the bit that makes the structure work. So you actually don't even need to do these evenly spaced. You could actually do them slightly differently. I've only ever seen them. People always say you need to be really precise, but for what I'm using it for, you actually don't need to be. As long as those cuts are straight cuts, doesn't matter how far apart they are. But I just thought it'd be nice and look pretty if they were all evenly spaced. And that's a lot of discussion on something that's really simple, but that's me, isn't it? I like to overcomplicate things. So even though this is a longer video, once you see how to do this, you'll see it's actually incredibly quick. The decorating, just takes a bit longer, but this is the main structure. It's folding a folder in half like this, making your outside flaps as well, making your slits, and then the next step is weaving your pieces through that you're going to use. So see, they're all cut right through and that's all in the centre there. So this is how it makes it work. And on one side, it looks like it's a pretty picture, So nothing to see here, just a little bit of decoration on the inside. And then when you weave the second piece through, you actually weave it in the opposite way. So the first piece I went under, over, under, over, under, over with the flower card, and on the second piece beside it I went over, under, and voila. Come on Jen, you can get it. Through it goes. I think I did actually trim that down a little bit in the end because it was a little bit tight. You do want a little bit of wiggle room. Now that is how you would do it with a manila folder, what you're seeing there, and then voila, it opens up. So does that make sense? And then you can just pull it out again. Isn't that clever? So like I say, my idea here was that it would look like a little secret hidden spot within a journal. So the way that I did it, because otherwise you'd see all your secret notes on those grey checkered strips there. The way that I did it was I just used another piece of the same paper and I'm using that to cover around the actual folder piece. So then what am I doing here? I'm just scoring it This is lovely scrapbook paper. I must say I did use cardstock on this, but it was probably a little bit too thick. I think it was closer to 180 GSM or 200 GSM. I do think you're probably better to go a little bit more lightweight. It's actually slightly heavier than a normal manila folder. And I guess what I'm saying there is if you just grab any old manila folder, you'll be able to make these. And if you want them small enough to put in your journals, you can cut them down and you'll probably find that it'll, be a little bit slimmer to go into your journals. But having the extra stability definitely was not such a bad thing either. So then see, when you open it up, all of those little secret parts are covered. I just think it's a bit of fun. So to make it a little bit interesting, I just decided that I'd do a little bit of fussy cutting down the side just to add a little bit of interest. Plus, it did also reduce bulk. I could have made it a lot more simple. I just wanted to do one that was a bit more decorative to show you rather than just do the basic structure. But I've kept most of the process in it because I think it's kind of cool. You can slow it down and go back through and, have a look at the different elements of it. But it's a lot easier than what it looks on camera. So if you have a go, and once you do it the first time, just use a pair of scissors. You cut those slits and then you weave through a couple of pieces of paper and the whole thing's done. So as I say, it is just something fun to pop into our journals, which is nice. Now, those of you who know me know that I just love inking things. So, lots of inking. There we go. Okay, now I'm getting down to it. Now, obviously, when you're gluing it down, you don't want to glue behind those bits that are woven through. So you want that to be sitting freely so that it can still do the folding mechanism and the unfolding mechanism. So you are only going to be gluing the outside edges only. So that's probably the most important thing to remember, that once you're enclosing it, do not let the glue touch on that back. Otherwise, the whole thing won't work and you'll have wasted all your effort. I hope everyone's doing really well. I've got so many new people here and so many fabulous ideas coming through in the comments too. So I encourage you to go and have a look through the comments. People just come up with the most amazing ideas. So one of the things was double-sided tape. A couple of people in my new subscribers, I always struggle to get the peel the backing off double-sided tape, and I fuff and I fuss and I fuss and I faff. And heaps of you out there told me that what you do is you get an awl or a needle or a pin, or someone even suggested a wonderful dentist pick tool, and you use that to just put a little hole and lift the plastic peel off, and then the sticky part's left behind. And I'm like, I can't wait to try this. So, that's one of the nice things when I love it when people make comments, and I love getting suggestions because that's how we all learn. And even more nice is so many of you said that it's inspired you to go and try your own and, I want to borrow that or I want to steal that. And, as far as I'm concerned, I think that you can create exactly what you've seen on camera here. And even if you used exactly the same papers, yours will not look the same. It will look different because it's crafted with your hands. And so just by virtue of that, it ends up coming out somehow unique to you. That's the beauty of handmade things. Now, this is where I worked out that it was a little bit too tight to actually work nicely. So I did keep that in. So then I've just trimmed off the edges. So I think it's good to see when we make mistakes and we have to just correct things as we go along. Yeah, so that I thought, was good for you to see. Now you can see the weaving process again, just in case you missed it. So one side, over and under, over and under, over and under. The other side, under and over, under and over, under and over. So just the opposite, whichever way you're going. And now once that's in, if you have a look at the mechanism, it will work much more smoothly. So opening it up, it's just a bunch of flowers. All right, so let me have a look. No, don't you worry, I've got some secrets in here. And any second now, Jen. Ta-da! So you can put all sorts of secret notes in there and no one would ever know. And then you just pull that flap again and in it goes. So the way that I worked out that I can put it into a journal is if I fold it in half like that, then I can have the back half glued into a journal, or it could just be a separate piece that you could put in a pocket and you could pull out. So this was my second go. I'd only done a prototype, and I'm sure that I'll keep playing with this and keep refining it because, as I said, the mechanism is so quick to do. It just takes no time at all. So that part's so easy. So that means I can just keep playing with the look and refining little bits and pieces. So the second time that you've seen this one that I'm doing here, like I cut down the bulk. I fussy cut around the front and I just did it as a tab on the back, which cut down a little bit of the bulk and the thickness. So even that helped. And now I'm just, decorating it. Doing a little label. I think this is such an easy, fun way to do a label. Just a little piece of ruled paper that's, that nice coffee kind of colour. And then I just used some of my doodle flowers. That's an idea I got from Art and Junk Journals with Julie. And she's just taking a little break at the moment for health reasons. But yeah, go and have a look at her channel, her back catalogue while she's away. She's got some really lovely ideas in there. And yeah, she did these little flower doodles on book pages and then fussy cut them out. They just look gorgeous. Hers are so much more elaborate than mine. Mine are just little, tizzy, silly little things. But yeah, I don't know. They just kind of go with the cards and they're just childlike, but they add a nice little element to the piece. And I think, anything can be art, can't it? I often actually use my younger son. He does, these pages and pages of writing. And so sometimes I just use those in my books because it's handwriting and it's interesting and it makes me think of him, especially my own notebooks that I, might pop into my handbag, which is something I've started to do. Make my own notebooks. Why would I buy them when I can make it? And I can choose the papers that I put in it, and I can put pockets wherever I need them, and I can put little tearaways to use as notes to write phone numbers on and give them to people. And yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? How you go, oh, don't know why. But of course I do love to buy a notebook as well, don't we all? But it's so much fun making it. So as always, lots of fussing and faffing, decorating up, but there is the finished piece. So opening up for the little secret part, and then it easily pulls back together again, just when you pull that out. So isn't it clever? And so this is just adapted from those, as I said, those manila folders that I saw. This is just a different way I decided to put them down, which was fun and nice. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and again, welcome to all my new subscribers. It's so lovely to have you all here, and thank you especially to everybody who's been here almost from the beginning, and all those people who, even first came across when Emily gave me that first shout out and I got up to 30 subscribers and I was so excited, and so many of you have stayed with me and kept encouraging me and supporting me, and I just want you to know I appreciate you, and it's lovely creating here together with everyone. I'd love it if you could leave me a comment below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw today. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you next time. And in the meantime, keep creating. Enjoy!